Hey team, James here, and I'm going to grab you this Friday afternoon to cover a super topic. It's come up a couple of times this week, and we've been talking about how we can improve our body composition through various things, such as I'm a massive advocate for strength training, and it's important when we're changing body composition. But another thing that's come up that I think we do need to cover, because we can affect it from tonight, is the importance of sleep. Now, I've got to stress this: sleep is not an opt-in or opt-out option. It's a human necessity. It's a bit like breathing. It helps our body recover from the day's activity. It helps prep our body for the challenges that we may see going forward. So we've got to crack this, not only for our mental health, but also for our body composition, because it's not just about feeling groggy. It's not just about not being able to cope with the stresses and things like that mentally. It has a cascading effect on our body composition and our overall health. How does it do that? I'm going to try and cover this briefly, not too sciencey, but give you a decent snippet of the reasons why it does this. Hopefully you can see this, because I know there's some light going over the board here, but let's have a crack at it. So, how does lack of sleep or sleep deprivation affects the brain? It affects the brain in the frontal lobe, and the frontal lobe is actually down-regulates the frontal lobe, and the frontal lobe is important for decision making and impulse control. So we start to struggle with those two aspects. If we're struggling with these poor decisions and impulse control, we're going to start making poor or worse food choices. We're going to start overeating, and our cravings are going to kick in. Now, I know there's a number of you, because I've spoken to you one-to-one, who have craving issues. Hey, we all have them now and then, but can we combat cravings through getting more sleep? And absolutely we can, because cravings are part of our reward center in our brain, okay? So we have that, some people have that, they associate exercise with getting a reward, but it can just be if we're tired, okay? If the body is tired, it's going to want a reward, so to speak, and that is normally something that is going to make us feel good. We're going to need something that's going to make us feel good. That could be, and is normally, high carbohydrate or a high fatty food. Why is it? Because it gives us instant gratification, tastes good, instant energy. Another reward is caffeine as well. So a lot of people will reach to that if they're struggling, okay? So sleep deprivation, which is probably less than 5-6 hours a night, affects our brain. How does it affect our brain? It disrupts the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is there for making good decisions and impulse control. So it disrupts this process. Therefore, we're going to have worse food choices. We're going to be overeating, and it's going to ramp up our cravings, okay? So that's one step of the puzzle. That's what's going up in the brain, and it's going to be very hard to control those aspects. Another thing that happens here, we have metabolic consequences, okay? Metabolic being your metabolism and how we process calories, nutrients, etc. like that come into the body. So one thing it does, it's going to ramp up our cortisol, okay? Cortisol is our stress hormone. If it does that, our body's going to go into conservation energy mode because it's under stress. So it's going to think, I better store some energy because this is a stressful environment that I'm in. I'm going to need that in case I don't know what the hell is going to be happening. If cortisol's up, conservation of energy's up, therefore we don't store carbohydrates as carbohydrates, we store it as fat, okay? So fat retention is up, and also we have poor insulin management, okay? Become insulin resistant to somewhat. So poor glucose control, which therefore equals more fat retention. So that's the metabolic consequence. So we already know that sleep deprivation is going to ramp up our poor food choices, and we're going to be overeating. We're going to be overeating on cravings such as high carbohydrate and high fatty foods. Not only that, not only are we eating more, our body's ability to handle these calories coming in from these foods is diminished because cortisol is going to get a spike. Cortisol gets a spike, we're going into conservation mode, energy ramps up, fat retention then is going up, and we are in a hell of a vicious cycle, okay? This is not good situation. If we do this for too long, it's going to get messy, okay? So this vicious cycle is we feel tired, cravings go up, weight's coming up. Guess what? When we're overweight, we're probably going to have lack of sleep or lack of sleep quality. That's important as well to remember, lack of sleep quality. I'm going to come on to that in a little bit about alcohol. So can you see what's happening here? We're going to get tired, we've got cravings ramping up, weight's piling on, therefore lack of sleep, disruptive sleep as well. We've got REM, which is our restorative sleep. So it's a vicious cycle going round and round and round and round. So we need to crack into this. And as I mentioned right at the bottom, or at the top here, importance of sleep. It's not opt in or opt out. We've got to crack it. We've got to get better at it. How are we going to do that though? Okay, so some people call it sleep hygiene. I call it sleep ritual. We go to bed at the same time every night. I pretty much get up at the same time every day, 7 days a week. I have clients at 6 in the morning. My alarm goes off at 4:45. I need 7 to 9 hours sleep a night. You can work that out, what time I go to sleep. People think it's a bit weird, okay? An adult going to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, 9:30. That's how it is, okay? So we want to try and get a ritual. Now that time zone might not work for you, but we want to be going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time. That consistency is the pièce de résistance. It's that having it boom, 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 boom. The body likes that. Body likes to be in homeostasis. It just likes to ebb along in the same, it doesn't like big spikes up or down, blood sugar or weird sleep patterns. So it wants to stay the same. So let's try and find that. We want to limit the screens, which is what you're watching this on now, I imagine, an hour before you go to sleep. So if you're watching this and it's between an hour before you go to sleep, turn it off, watch it in the morning. If it's before, watch it. But no screens, 1 hour before you go to bed. So no television, no iPads, no mobile phones. Put them away. Read a book, do something else, have a warm bath. Caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine is a stimulant, we all know that. It also has an 8-hour half-life, okay? So if I have caffeine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to be having some effects of that at 10 o'clock at night. You're not going to feel a buzz, but those systems that are running along in the background, a bit like your computer, just ebbing along, those little data systems that are happening are getting affected and stimulated by the caffeine. So if you're a coffee drinker or anything with caffeine, 8-hour half-life, think about it. When am I going to go to sleep? It's got to be way before that. And alcohol. So I have this chat all the time with people. Alcohol, yes, can knock you out. It makes you go to sleep super quick, but it's also going to wake you up. Most people get that wake up around 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And that is when the liver is starting to detox, okay? So alcohol, obviously, knock it back. I'm not going to say become a nun or a monk. Enjoy a glass of wine, but consider it. If you're having disruptive sleep and you're waking up at those regular intervals, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, did you have any drinks last night? If you did, potentially it's the alcohol kicking in and your liver detoxing, ramping up your metabolism to get rid of the toxins in that alcohol. So consider that and get it going, okay? So another top tip is a cold bedroom. Open the window, keep it cool, and blackout curtains. Make it very, very dark in there like a cave. So remember, sleep is a necessity, not a luxury. Over the next 7 days, I want us to really focus on the importance of sleep, okay? And really get into the deep dive into setting a ritual up, thinking about when am I going to go to sleep, how much sleep do I need? Let's aim for 7 to 9 hours, okay? If you're sitting at 5 hours at the moment, let's try and push it up to 6 or 7. If you're a 7-hour sleeper, let's try and push it to 8. So we're not gonna change things overnight, but let's try and get a bit better, a bit better, a bit better, a bit better. So we're gonna aim for that. I want us to start thinking about our ritual, thinking about limiting our screens, caffeine and alcohol intake, or another one, don't eat 2 hours before you go to sleep as well. So your evening meal should be 2 hours before bedtime, sleep time. Okay, so let's get into that. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. I really appreciate you being in this group. Hopefully this helps and gives you a little idea of why sleep is so important. Next week, we're gonna crack on to a little bit more exercise, instruction on how we can help you there. But have an amazing weekend. Drop a comment below that you've read this, comment sleep, and I'll see you very soon. Ciao.